In this tutorial, we're going to do a little bit with animation, and we're going to use what's called a motion tween. So we're going to create some symbols if you don't already have those, and kind of use some of these hotkeys down here that could be helpful. And I'll show you some other ways to do it too. So I'm jumping in, and I've already kind of got this pre-built. So if you want to create something, the big thing is you want to make sure you have your background on a layer, and then anything that's moving has to be on its own separate layer. If they're on the same layer, they will conflict and it'll cause problems. The other issue is if these are not symbols, they need to be symbols, and you can usually just single click on them, and over here on the side it'll tell you movie clip. If for whatever reason it's not a symbol, you just right mouse click on it and go to convert to symbol, and that gets it ready to be animated. So my background is not a symbol because that's not going to be moving, but if it were to move, I would need to convert that to a symbol too. So down here in the timeline, I'm going to go ahead and start to kind of mess with this and add some simple animation. I'm going to go about out to 60, and there's a few ways you can do this. One way is just to right mouse click and insert frames, and what that does, that extends it out, and you'll notice everything disappeared except for my son, and the reason for that is they are still way back here. And don't click and drag to pull those up. You just want to come out here and just either press F5 or right mouse click and insert your frames so that they are showing for the whole time. So insert frames, and now I'm ready to start to animate. So to animate, I'm going to go ahead and just click anywhere in between here on the gray area and just right mouse click. And what that'll do is that'll give me the option to do this motion tween, which is what we're after. So we're going to do motion tween. That changes it to a different color, and yours might show up one color or the other. And then you kind of drag this out, and then you can kind of move it, drag this out, and then move it, drag this out, and then move it. So that kind of creates that animation of that character now. So I'm going to go ahead and lock that up and kind of do the same thing up here. So one thing you do have to be careful about, like if you come out here and drag this out and you move something, it'll actually move it, and now it kind of glitches, but it doesn't create this motion tween that's nice and smooth like my snowman. So you got to be careful about that. And now that I've done that, I've kind of messed up, and I need to kind of fix that because I don't want it to just jump all over the place like that, and maybe you do. So what you need to do is you need to kind of remove and kind of start over. So I'm going to click and drag to select this portion, and then right mouse click and remove those frames, and that'll just kind of remove that, and then come back and then go ahead and insert your frame. So it kind of starts it all over if you accidentally do that. So now I'm going to go ahead and right mouse click and do a motion tween, so that changes color. So I've got my starting point here, and then I'm going to go ahead and just drag it all the way to the end here, and then just move it all the way to the end over here, and that will create that animation. If I decide I don't like that, maybe I want it to flip the other way. Let me jump back and move this part. So you use the timeline down here, and you can kind of mess with that a little bit. And my son's going really fast, so it's kind of weird, but that's kind of how you get some animation going. The other way to kind of restart, if you don't like that, you can also right mouse click and go to remove motion tween, and then it changes back so there's no animation now. And then you can just right mouse click and go to motion tween again, and then you're kind of just going for it again. So I'll just throw that in here. One last thing I want to just show, once you do these animations, they kind of have this path. When you export those out, those won't show up. What those are for, if you click and drag, you can actually bend those. Let me jump to my snowman. So I could come in here, but since I have all these keyframes, I could actually come in here and kind of give them a little bit of a hop if I wanted to kind of do that. So that's kind of a fun thing. You got to be careful though. If you click on it and then try and move it, it just moves the whole animation, which can be helpful too. So that's kind of where you're at. So, but that's motion tween.